What is up, winning team? I've come on here because I need to discuss with you guys a predicament I'm having in my therapy sessions with the Lord. And I don't really think we're going to come to a conclusion in this video. I would like to hear, you guys are the only people in the world whose opinions I want to hear about anything. So that's why I'm bringing it to here, because yeah, your girl's trying. Like, I'm really trying. Like, I can't express how much I'm trying to participate and in like living. Like, I'm really trying, and I'm just finding myself at a bit of a wall. And I have to talk about it with you guys because I've been talking about it with God, because there's like a point we keep getting back to that we just can't cross from. And so and I also think, like, I decided I'll just come and like film outside, because honestly, whenever I'm indoors inside any building, I just feel restricted. Like I've said before, just like how clothing makes me feel restricted, like everything makes me feel restricted and constrained, and I hate it. So I like being outside where, like the sky is vast and infinite, and the nature, and just this oxygen and whatever. But I really want to talk about this because, like, I had a realization this morning in all my... So I'm trying to become like... I'm trying to care, right? I'm trying to care because at the end of last year, I realized, unfortunately for me, I don't care anymore. Like, I really don't. As in, like, not like I'm trying to say I don't care, but really I'm harboring all these feelings. Like, I do have a lot of feelings, but it's almost like my feelings are what pushes me to not care, because it's just too much effort. I feel like it's too much effort and too much work needs to be done for me to get to a point where I feel like I can function as a normal human being. Like, that's where we're going with this. And it always takes you back to the same point, because a lot of people, right? So guys, like I said, I'm just being honest here. I'm being vulnerable. It's not a safe space anywhere, but to those of you who are on the winning team, you guys are my safe space. So I'm going to talk to you guys. And you'll see why when I say what I say, why I don't want to talk about this with anyone. Because I don't want to talk about it with anyone. Because I don't want to hear the same things I've always heard. Because I just don't think... And this is part of, like, there's like an underlying tone of what I'm saying, which you're probably going to notice. But I just don't think anybody's really listening when I'm talking. Like, and that's kind of one of the problems. Because, people mean well when they want to, like, help you and stuff, but then they start doing so much of telling you what they think or what they understand, or like people will say stuff like, I'll give you a classic example for me, is that people will say to me like, oh, I remember when I went through this and I felt a bit like this as well. You must be feeling like this because when I went through this is how I was feeling. And it's like, but I'm telling you, that's not how I'm feeling. It's like when people talk to me about forgiveness, is a perfect example. I don't struggle with not forgiving other people. I struggle with forgiving myself. And that's actually where this all goes all the way back to what I was saying and why I'm stuck in this rut, because I do regret every single decision I've made this far. And I blame myself. And there's no point, and this is where I'm going to start with the things that people are going to say, well, you shouldn't. There's no point not blaming myself, because I'm the one who has to deal with the consequences. That's the thing. And this is what I've been saying to God. Like, I know I'm forgiven. Like, being forgiven, I was going to do this in a separate video, and I want to get this all out now so I can focus on the Job videos, which honestly, I feel like maybe the answer to all of this is we're going to find it while we read through Job, right? But no matter what anybody says, yeah, no matter what amount of work I do to become a better person or whatever, it doesn't change that it was my decisions that led me here. It doesn't change the reality I'm in now. That's why I don't value things like talking about my feelings, because what use is it having a nice little warm conversation when I've still got to go back to this same life that I've created? It's the same thing like I was saying about hospital. What's the point in everybody jumping around trying to save my life when I'm still walking back into the same life? Same with this whole police investigations. Why don't I go to police investigations? Because I'm still going to do all this investigation. Okay, you charge one person or some person gets sentenced. I'm still going back into the same world. Like, it doesn't change the world. The world doesn't change. And that's the problem, ultimately. And so the world doesn't change and I don't change. I am the author. I am the reason I'm here. I am my dumb, stupid decisions. And I just can't figure out which age bracket, I can't figure out. I really feel like I was dumb from the beginning. Like, I honestly don't, and I've said this before, and I know it doesn't sound nice, because even, hello. even God said to me once, he was like, you would never speak to a child like the way you speak to your own inner child. And I'm like, I know, but that's the point, because it's me, and I should have known better, and I should have done better, because now I'm the reason I'm suffering. And now I don't have the energy anymore. Like, I don't have the energy to care. Like, I don't have the energy to try. I almost cried just a minute ago, because I was so proud of myself that I did 2 loads of laundry this week. Because I hate laundry, because first of all, why am I even wearing clothes? Oh, because we sinned in the garden. So now, to make everybody else more comfortable, I have to wear clothing. That's the truth. I don't want to wear it. It's also why I don't want to be around people. I hate clothes. But just so that everybody else feels comfortable, I have to wear them. Right. And so then, it takes me all the way back to, well, I can blame myself for everything, and I can take accountability for everything. And honestly, I don't even mind, to an extent. What bothers me is the fact that there are 2 distinct decisions that I had no say in, and therefore, why are we pretending like there's any such thing as consent anyways? Like, I don't see the point in trying to believe that my opinion matters, or how I feel matters, or anything about me matters, when it didn't matter when the decision for me to live was being made. And I'm not even talking about my parents. I'm actually talking about with God in particular, because there's a 1 in 400 trillion chance of a pregnancy being successful in the first place. So we're all technically miracles to be here. He didn't have to let this happen, and I had no say in it. And so if my only option, and this is why, when people try to tell me about, but you should see the bright side, I'm like, the only bright side is if I have consent, is that I'm going to take my own life, because that's the point. I wouldn't have chosen this life. It's not worth all the things that people think is worth doing, like healing and all this. Look, I've done a lot of it. There's still much more to come, evidently. It's not worth the effort, guys. I'm nearly 30. I've not wanted to live for more than 2 decades now. I just don't have the effort anymore. I don't have the effort. I don't have the energy to give, to try and make this life worth living in. I don't have the effort. And that's why I'm like, well, really, it doesn't matter what I do anyway. Everything's always forced onto me anyway, the same way life was forced onto me. This womb was forced into me. Like, I've been looking into getting my tubes tied, my womb removed, and it's not even that simple again, because my whole entire genetic makeup is that of a woman. So I would have to start taking hormone replacement therapy, or apparently, or I will have, or even if I didn't, there'll be a significant shift in my hormones, which will change my personality, change how I feel. And the whole reason I want to get rid of the thing is because I just want to be able to go some time in my life where there's not something else controlling me outside of my I don't feel like I have any freedom. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no freedom. I don't have any freedom. I don't get to just switch it off and just have a break from having a womb. No, the cycle's ongoing, the hormonal roller coaster, and then living in a world where it's like trying to build a rocket ship to take us to Mars and come back, in order for me to get my womb removed. But if I just casually just go and get pregnant right now and want an abortion, I can get that done in a split of just like this. That's crazy. I can just go get it done like this. That's absolutely insanity. That's actually insane. And that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. It just, none of it's worth it. And so I really God really has to explain to me why I should be grateful that he allowed for me to live. That's actually what I need to understand at this point in time. Because why? It's not even about, as I said, it's not even about anybody like my parents or whatever, because you know what? Everybody's having sex. Everyone's just doing whatever they're doing. Everyone's just doing stuff. And, there was a 1 in 400 trillion chance of that even happening in the first place. So it's I realized earlier this morning / yesterday that my issues have gone way above anything that any human being can actually help me with. And this is why I don't believe in therapy for myself, because it's my issues are on a much deeper spiritual level. Because if you're telling me, if I'm going to go with the world's way of thinking that we're all just born and we should just be happy to be here in the time we're here and nothing happens afterwards, then I'm just going to end it now again. Every other road ends in suicide for me. That's the thing, guys. This is what I don't think anybody understands. If you're telling me I have more work I need to do, I'd rather kill myself. If you're telling me that, oh, it's fine, you're going to come back as something else depending on your things, too much pressure for whoever future me is, I'd rather kill myself. If you're going to tell me that I have to this all just comes to an end and it's all just meaningless and I just happen to be here because I just happen to, and the universe just happened to be here because the universe just happened to, I'd rather kill myself. Every option ends there, because then that's when the work stops. That's when I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do no freaking laundry because of the fact that I have to wear clothing so that everybody else feels more comfortable, even though I'd rather wear nothing. I don't have to even using my mouth. Like, one of the main reasons I don't even like being a human is like, I don't feel like we really do have freedom. I think that's what it is when it comes down to it, is I just don't feel like we have freedom. And I because I know what freedom, I know I've know too much. Like, that's really the problem. The problem is I know too much. I've read too much of the Bible. I've spent too much time with the Lord. And I know that freedom is, and I've even in my experience in the world itself, I know too much now. Like, I know that I don't have to live as a slave. I know that I don't have to watch like so when, because it's like, like I always use the wine analogy every time, like how going from me, the times in my life when I was a uni student and I was 18, 19, and my friends going to Tesco buying Silver Bay Rosé for £3 with bottom of the shelf wine, to like being in Italy on the mountains in a vineyard drinking the best wine some of the best wine in the world. This is how I feel. I feel constantly like, why the hell do I want to participate in going back to the damn silver £3, and it used to actually only be £3, it was £2. It's probably like £8 now. It was like £2.70, like it was a joke. And again, those, in a way, this is where I feel like I overdosed on knowledge and I overdosed on the love of God, because those days were fun. Like, it seemed cute. Me and my housemates coming off the train at Seven Sisters, going into our huge Tesco's, usually shut at midnight, which is the only reason we were able to go there, because we'd always be coming back late from like dance and like or cheer or whatever. And then we'll go in there and we'll do our little shopping. And again, even in those days, I used to spend like £10. I remember I used to spend £10 on my groceries like a week, and it actually used to last because that's how the times were. And I was just one girl. I was just a girl. And I used to make it stretch, you know what I mean? I used to make it stretch, used to be able to, but anyway, nevertheless. And so then we'll go and buy our little cheap wine, and then while we're all cooking in our tiny little square kitchen and doing our laundry and like, talking about what happened throughout the day and catching up, drinking our £2.80 Silver Bay wine. I honestly think we kept them in because there's only one tiny little shelf, and there was only ever like, we'd only ever buy like one bottle, but there'd be like 4 bottles there, and then I'm pretty sure we were the only ones buying that, but those were good times. Like, those were good times. They were fun, they were exciting. I was looking forward to the prospects of the world, of the future. I'm working hard at everything I can possibly work hard at. I was enjoying having to come home and have 4 different things to wash, because I had one outfit I wore in the lab, one outfit I wore for work, one outfit I wore for the day, one outfit I wore for dance or cheer. Like, so every day I'd be having 4 outfits that I'd be wearing, and have my little bag that I used to carry all my stuff in, and it was a good time. But then, like, it was good when that's what I was used to. And I feel like that's how everybody else is in the world. I feel like everybody else in the world, yeah, that's why people don't really understand where I'm coming from, is used to the Silver Bay. Whereas I now have tried, Monteperlo in Italy, right, at the actual vineyard where they're making it, with the actual family that makes it, has been making it for all these years, while I'm looking at the mountains where I can see the grapes growing, while I'm seeing the thing there, while there's like literally hundreds and thousands of bottles of this stuff everywhere, and they're like, yeah, whichever one you want to try, just try it. This goes really nice with this, that, this. They know how to do it properly. They know how to do everything. How you test the wine isn't gone bad. I didn't even know that was possible. You smell the corkscrew and it smells like this. I'm thinking, okay, this is above my pay grade right now. So it's like, that's what I liken to my experiences with God itself. So then clicking back into the world itself just doesn't feel worth it anymore. Like, in the same way that I think Silver Bay could be £1, it could be 10p. I don't think I will go and buy it still. That's like how I feel about the world. Like, and that's why I don't now, have you noticed, I don't even buy wine in England since I've been going to Italy. I don't buy wine anywhere. Maybe at a nice restaurant. I never ever buy wine, and I used to. It used to be one of the things I would have, like, especially like on my period. Red wine, dark chocolate, nice salty savory popcorn. Oh, the period trio of dreams. Some Sour Patch Kids. Hell yeah, charcuterie. Oh, yes, sushi. But now I'm just like, I just can't be asked now, because now I know the good stuff. Now the rest of it doesn't seem worth it. And like, that's where I have my regrets. Obviously, I'm at the point of faith where it's like, evidently, I'm holding on every day, not because I think it's worth it, not because I've accepted this as reality as reasonable, because I feel like that's what other people are. Oh yeah, like I said, it was a silver bait. It was good at the time. At the time, I thought I was living life. I was buying my little groceries and Tesco's as well. You know what I mean? I felt like I was getting a good deal, getting my little chicken in the supermarket and all this. You know, I hadn't lived the bougie lifestyle of when I then fast forwarded. You know, I was living in my own flat, and now I go to the proper butchers, I go to the fishmongers, I go to the market, I get really nice quality. I pick the exact quality of all the meat, fish, fruits, vegetables, everything that I want, and I'm like eating better for my body and stuff. I didn't know about that yet, right? And that's why I feel like, I kind of get, Solomon in the Bible, how he's like the wealthiest and the wisest in all the land, and he's got 700 wives and 300 concubines, which once again, I want to know how bro was keeping up with that rotation, because we all know what we know about men, let's be honest. I won't say what I'm going to say, but if you know, read between the lines. So, and then if you notice how after having all of that, and that's where I feel like I find most people to be kind of tone deaf when it comes to some of our issues. Some of you will get what I'm talking about. And I know some of you in the winning team will get this, because some of you have had the same experience, where because people are still perceiving like money, power, fame, this, that, whatever it is that you think somebody else has, you're still seeing that as like, what you mean? Your life must be amazing because you have that, or your life must be amazing because you have this. This is why I find this place insufferable, because I feel like I'm watching everybody around me constantly seeking something that's not the solution that they think it is. Whether, like I said, whether it's money, power, fame, whether it's relationships. Don't get me wrong, relationships are great, friendships, love, all this stuff. It's all really nice. And if I actually told you about a lot of my positive experiences, you guys would be surprised that I landed back at where I landed at here. Because you'd be like, whoa, but that sounds amazing. Especially like when I share with people, my stories, like, really? Like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And it's like, well, because the way you talk about things, you would think. It's like, yeah, I've had bad experiences. I've had a lot of good experiences. Actually, the good experiences that have led me here, because I've come to the conclusion that this is just the world I live in. Like, this is the world I live in. Like, and unless I'm in another place, this is why I really am believing in this promised land thing. And I'm just praying for a miracle, because the conversation I was having this morning, I'd woken up, it was like 3:30. I wanted to go back to sleep. I was tired, but I wasn't sleeping. Okay. And then my brain started going again. And I was like, after about an hour, it's about 4:30. And I remember just thinking to myself, okay, right, you can't keep on like this. You can't keep spending like hours and hours of your day just ruminating over everything you hate about this world. Because like I was thinking about how Disney has bought Crunchyroll, right, where anime is, and I'm so annoyed about that, right? Because now I'm having a conflict of my morals again, right? My one little slice of heaven is like always, okay, you know what, everything and everyone's bothering me, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to go watch some anime. Now Disney Plus, right? Again, so I don't want to support. I don't want that. I can't have Disney in my bank statement, because in my mind, now I'm using my free will to support people I don't support, to support Disney, to support people I don't trust, which then spirals me back to reminding me of growing up and being an idiot, watching Disney Channel, watching Nickelodeon, being so excited and loving this, all to grow up and realize that Nickelodeon in and of itself was founded by people who'd already been on the predator list, child predator list, were executive producers at Nickelodeon, the freaking foot little thing from Nickelodeon from Dan Schneider, and what all of the different people went through on the thing, Disney Channel, and what's going on at Disney, and how Disney is its own place, another place known to have underground tunnels, another place that has its own rules and it operates like its own place, which we know those are always going to be the sketchiest places, because then anything is anything. If they run themselves and they're considered their own country, that's the greatest loophole in all of history, right? Like just like what the Vatican does. So that's another thing that's ruined. Not to mention all these pastors, preachers, leaders I grew up with, that all the older generation were arse-licking, the same older generation that I was taking advice from that I now regret, were all arse-licking, all to turn out that all of everybody was predators anyway. All of the people that I looked up to, look at Britney Spears, look at what the state of her now, jury of the sheep turned on her. Michael Jackson was somebody who inspired me as a dancer. I only ever wanted to dance for Chris Brown or Michael Jackson, and that's still true to this day. I don't want to dance for either of them now, obviously. But then, like, again, to watch their lives, Michael Jackson's now dead. They now have another movie called Michael, where who's making money because he's not alive? his father used to abuse him, which is why he worked so hard the way that he did, because he was fearful of abuse, and that's what created greatness out of it. So do I want to support that? Not really, actually, if that's what it took for him to get to where he is. Not to mention Chris Brown, who, like I've said, I believe was sacrificed by his own mother for the industry, just like a lot of people that I grew up watching. So that's everything. Not to mention the fact I think about my birthday parties and things I used to do. The CEO of Chuck E. Cheese, oh wait, also on the Epstein list. Great. I had a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese when I was still in America. Now I'm embarrassed that I was involved in that I was having a fun time there. Now it's ruined all the photos of me ever being there. Victoria's Secret, another person on the Epstein list. When I was at uni, and I used to be a die-hard fan of their body mists, which again, I could never wear Victoria's Secret because it's specifically made for girls with smaller boobs, which I don't know why they made that as if like girls with smaller boobs didn't have access, because it's girls with big boobs don't have access. And I can tell you that because from my experience, small bras have always been there. Like, I don't know what that was, but anyway, hey, I was never mad about it, because I was like, hey, shout out to the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. You guys do your thing. I'll participate. I'll enjoy, like, I'll wear some of their underwear, and I would buy like a lot of their like cosmetics and whatever. And like I said, I used to go in there and literally buy like 5 body mists at a time, like the big bottles, because I loved those. I used to keep those and the ones from Hollister like stored in like in this little display like in my flat. Oh, turns out Victoria's Secret guy's also on the Epstein list and whatever. So fast forward. Now I'm fast forwarding to now, yeah. I'm hearing one of the men of God, Marcus Rogers, saying, guys, it's time that us as Christians no longer support what Donald Trump is doing. Duh. Right? Another man of God from this country that I know of is like, guys, God is saying that in terms of politics, it's time for us Christians to switch over to such and such party. I'm like, yeah, mate, I knew that from like 2 years ago. So I'm here, like even in the body of Christ. And then I'm talking to Christians, yeah, and all they're excited about, it's Easter, Jesus is risen. All there is everywhere, even just down the road right here from where I am, I could almost see if there wasn't cars parked there. Jesus hanging on the cross, always Jesus looking weak, right? There's a church here, church there, church another 5 minutes walk from there. All of them closed. I guarantee you, if I walk towards where the mosque is, there's only one mosque. In this little section here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I mean, if we start going 5 minutes that way again, we're going to find more and more churches. We've got 4 churches, yeah? Always closed, always only old people, yeah? And then I go to the mosque, it's open 5 times a day. Open 5 times a day. And then I live in a country, I've grown up in a country here where I've seen the lens of the whole world from being in England. That's the thing. Because of being in England and then also growing up on social media the way that I did, we've been overexposed. So I know too much. We know way too much about too much stuff happening in the world. Yeah. So I live in a country now, there's all we want to protect your country or whatever. What patriotism? You guys don't even support anything. It's only like damn near yesterday you guys started putting up flags. You now want to say, your country's being taken over. Taken over by what? Because there's nothing you're going behind. You don't talk about anything. Religion and politics is considered to be unpolitically correct at every given moment. The only thing we can do is complain about the weather and complain about things we are not going to change, right? You don't even believe in any God. At least everywhere else pretty much in the world actually believes in something. And then you want to complain that something else came and took over. And then you are the same. And then exactly. So I'm just like, this is just the dumbass world I'm living in. This is the dumbass world I'm living in. And then when you now want to be like me and open up, people say you should, I understand you being for this, push up your boundaries. Yeah, well, you know what my boundary is? My boundary is I didn't get to choose to be alive. That was another thing that was forced onto me. Just like this womb was forced onto me. Just like this whole entire life was forced onto me. So, you know what? What's the point in talking about consent? And what's the point in talking about boundaries? And also, why do I have to talk so much about boundaries? Why are people so quick to want to cross them? Why is everybody so exploitative? Like, this is what my problem is with Crunchyroll and Disney. Why is Disney buying Crunchyroll? Because Disney's bought Crunchyroll, yeah? Next thing you know, the price of Crunchyroll's gone up. Why? Because we're all here for the thing. Next thing you know, Disney, Crunchyroll is now connecting with YouTube. So once again, another thing is being ruined, right? So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to cancel Crunchyroll because I'm going to have to. Because I was thinking, if everything I've said and how much I talk about, I don't like to put my money into businesses and things and whatever. Because even if it's just my little amount of money, the reason why this is why I get annoyed as well with people and how they don't think as deeply about small decisions like this like I do. There's another reason I don't like it, because people be like, oh, what is it? It's just me. And anyways, I just watch it because I just want to watch this one show. I just want to do this one thing. Listen, guys, I'm literally wearing a One Piece t-shirt as we speak right now. And One Piece is the one place I watch it is on Crunchyroll. So I'm, forfeiting watching it in a very seamless way. There's other ways I could watch it through Crunchyroll by deciding to cancel it. But what am I going to do? Is it going to be me and my comfortability of what I want, or is it going to be my morals and values? Because my morals and values is the fact that Disney is a place where kids can just go and wherever and it's all whatever. And again, I went to Disney as a kid and I was all looking forward to going back as an adult until I became an adult and realized what these people are up to behind the scenes and realized I want nothing to do with it. I was looking forward to spending my adult money at Disney. Now I want nothing to do with that. I don't want to go to Disney nothing. I don't want to go to Disney nothing. I don't want to be involved in Disney anything. I don't want to be involved in Hollywood anything. And again, if I want to go into any of the fields of anything I want to do, it's always some organization controlled by the world, controlled by the devil. So that's why I'm like, the only options here are literally to either kill myself or for God to get us to the promised land. Those are the two options. Because the other options in the middle, I can't mess with it. And I'm not going to have conversations about, oh, this, that. Even now, look, listen to the cars and stuff. Everything's going electrical, right? That's what I'm saying. Everything I see around me is just a reminder of how annoying everything is. These guys cutting these trees down. Even the other day, was it yesterday? Yesterday, I was doing my tuition lesson that I do. My brother would do twice a week, and so we're doing chemistry. That was another thing that irritated me because next month is his exams, and it's like they taught him nothing because everything I was telling him, I was thinking, oh, you must know this. This is going to be recap. He's like, no, I didn't know that. Now his problem is he's doing combined science. He's not doing triple science, which basically means, right, for all the people outside of the country. And even those here, because I don't think parents even know that this is happening. So every child is automatically put in to do combined science, which basically means, you can either do core, additional, or further. Every single science subject, chemistry, biology, physics, each of them have 3 levels to them: core, additional, and further, right? Unless you do further, right? If you do further, that's the only way at GCSE level you get 3 distinct grades for each actual science. So you get a grade for chemistry, a grade for biology, a grade for physics. If you don't do triple science, right, which is considered one of your options, you are not going to get a chemistry, a physics, and a biology grade. You're going to get 2 grades where all of your core physics, core biology, core chemistry are mixed into 1 core science grade, and then your core additional physics, additional biology, additional chemistry all mixed together. Now, that's why some of us, before we even knew what we wanted to do, decided to do triple, because I was like, what if I do really good in one science and then it drags down another science, which is actually something my brother is potentially going to happen to him. So what I was explaining to him is, and it's something I've explained to people, but no one ever believes me when I say this stuff. And this is what I mean by I say that I have stuff to say. I tend to be ahead of whatever's happening. No one's listening to me, and then I have to still deal with the aftermath while everybody's waking up, and then people want to run in and be like, oh, no, what do we do? I don't want to have to be here for that, because this is what my thing is now. I'm like, God, I don't want to have to be here when people wake up that didn't want to listen, like, especially because if people had listened when I started, these are the days when I still had energy. Now I don't care anymore. But anyway, so I was explaining to my brother, and this is the truth, and I would never say this to another kid because, but he's my brother, so I want to educate him about the world he's living in as well. That, of course, he wouldn't, it's not surprising to me that he doesn't know, because most teachers these days, all they do is they bark the information at the front of the thing, and depending on what you are, like if the higher level students, they give better teachers. That's well known that they do that. Higher level teachers, they give the higher level students get the better teachers, and the low level students get the worse teachers. Yeah. And I know that. Also, when you have the core and when you have the triple science, so basically, I know that. This is why I always encourage it. That's why I always encourage, do the triple science, because the chances are the triple science teachers are going to be the better teachers. So it doesn't surprise me that he doesn't have this. And like, as I'm actually doing things with my brother, because obviously it's more intertwined and he's very highly intelligent, there's just a few little things that he won't learn at school that they won't teach him that he needs for school. I'm just thinking about how many people have lost out in life because of the school system. And that's another thing that annoys me, because why are we here waiting for an exam or whatever to tell us what we can be and what we can do? Why are we waiting for a qualification? Why do we care about that? God gave us gifts and talents. God gave us a purpose. God created us for whatever we were created for, right? We don't need to go and prove to no teacher. We don't need to prove no qualification. And then it's the same freaking Christians out here telling their kids to go into debt, which is, again, against the Bible, against the Bible, because the Bible says we should not be borrowers, but rather lenders, which again, you look at certain communities and how they've thrived. The Jewish community, they've thrived off of that one particular thing of always being the one doing the lending and not the borrowing, and therefore have changed the game for money for hundreds of years now. And that's why we're all where we are now, and people want to complain, but they just followed a biblical concept, right? Meanwhile, you got parents, oh, no, I hope my child goes to university and studies this, just so they can get a good job, so they can get a good job, so they can go and work and have 6 days a week off, like a year. That's not living, mate. So that they can go and barely be able to afford to do anything and barely be able to live. And that's what you class as good parenting, is that you got your child onto a career path where they barely have time to do absolutely anything. They can barely afford anything. The times that they get to spend with their loved ones is very minimal, and that's what we call life and living. And that's what you've decided is acceptable. Yeah, you see, I just don't believe love lives here, and it's worth it. This is what I'm saying. None of it's worth it. And no matter where I turn, like the electric cars, everyone's all save the planet, save the planet. You want to save the planet? How about stop the food waste? How about cut down on the food waste? How about cut down on using all these extra gadgets and tools and all these things that we don't need? How about enough of the Amazon, enough of the deliveries, enough of the overconsumption? How about that if we want to protect the planet? How about that? Yeah. How about start growing your own fruits and vegetables and start having your own agriculture and your own animals and stuff, so you don't have to be shipping things in from all over the world? You know what I mean? How about that? How about that? The other day I watched a documentary and it was making me really sad because it was showing how, people in China, a lot of workers, they get offered to do these jobs that they get given for 2 years, where they go out to sea, and essentially when they go out to sea, they they're the ones doing like the mass fishing. Because if you think about it, guys, the fact that we can just go into the supermarket and there's all these things in there, bearing in mind none of our countries are perfect climates for everything that exists in all of everywhere, that we're mass farming and we're mass doing things. Right? Especially for those of us in the West should be aware of that. So, in there, it was really quite telling because the guy was showing how they mass fish in certain parts around the world on these huge ships, the terrible conditions they're in, and most people end up dying of suicide literally because then when they get there, obviously they're not allowed to leave. Like their only way of leaving is to kill themselves, because what ends up happening is they just have ships. The ships go out. They're told, oh, you're just going to do this work for 2 years and save some money, which honestly sounds like a good, sweet deal for anyone, right? They get there. They're out doing this in these horrible, horrific conditions, and it's honestly terrifying, to see. And then all they do is they just send out other ships to come and collect whatever these people have collected, and they leave them there, and they're working long hours, giving the food, just enough food. And this one, there's slavery everywhere. And all of this, right, for them to go and ship all of that food to places where I live, like here, so I can go into a restaurant and have a cute little girly chat while we cry about another bum-ass idiot nigger that you decided to waste time on, right? Or while we're enjoying this food and the slave labor, all for you to go and lie and betray me anyways. All for us to have some random beef about absolutely nothing. All for us to sit here, right, and be trying to have time with the Lord and be disrupted by the riffraff. Nah, bro. And when I say the term nigger in this case, I'm talking about everybody of all skin colors. It's under that phrase right now. But this is what I'm saying. Am I supposed to just be sitting here and on a day like this, go out for brunch with the girlies, right, while we have our, our nice little food that we get that's shipped from all over the world? God forbid the conditions these people are in a restaurant that's overpriced, people who are not even being paid anywhere near the amount that they deserve, right? All this money going into the pockets of people that are probably doing weird things to children, right? Just for me to sit here, think about myself, or there's kids sitting in underground tunnels screaming, having to think of all the societal etiquettes of what I can and can't do, what I can and can't say, who I can and can't be in modern day society. You know what I mean? Entertaining dumb, stupid conversations, like things about people's mental health disorders. I have ADHD, autism, again, all just because we can't actually love people as they are and for who they are. Now we need a diagnosis, because that's how I look at it. This mental health stuff, I look at it quite simply as, we had to find a way to tell people our needs outside of just being able to tell them our needs, because just telling people your needs isn't good enough in this world. Just saying, hey, I was thinking about this, when people say some people with ADHD or autism, after a certain time, their social battery runs out. Well, all of our social battery runs out. When did we become a society that means that just because somebody else wants to be in my space, wants my time, I have to give it to them? And if I don't want to give it to them, that means they're more entitled to my time than I am. If I have to justify why I don't want to do something other than the simple sentence that I don't want to, that means your feelings are more important than my experience, is my feelings. So that's why I'm saying I don't matter at the end of the day. I don't. It's like on my birthday. This is why I hate my birthday. I'm going to try out this year. I'm going to be very clear to every single person. I don't want anyone not to wish me a happy birthday, not to give me a gift. Because I want to see how this year I'm going to use it as an experiment. Because the truth is, if you do anything and you say, oh, but I just wanted to celebrate you, but I just wanted to, you wanted to do what you wanted to do. My birthday is a reminder every year that even on my birthday, I am the least important person in the room. Even on my birthday, I still don't matter. Even on my birthday. And that is why I regret the day that I was born, and I regret the moment I was conceived. This is exactly why. And then and then my question always is, who are these other people that we're all bending for? That's what I want to know, because it was always like we're always bending for someone. And then we have these logics, or these things that we follow, that we do, that don't actually make any sense. Because like I said, going back to my example of being out for brunch with the girlies, which I love brunch, by the way, I actually love a brunch. It's just that, it's just, what's the point? There's kids in underground tunnels, like, and also somehow I'm going to end up in a drama I didn't ask for, just from existing, in all reality. Somehow I'm going to say something, I'm going to, like, because I can't talk freely. As soon as I talk freely anywhere, I've noticed as soon as I start talking freely, I'll end up accidentally saying something that's caused a rift of some sort, and I'm just like, ugh. And it could be the smallest of things. Anyway, what was I going to say? I got lost in my thought track there. Yeah, the brunch thing. Yeah, so now say I'm at the brunch scenario. So now the person serving us is in a bad attitude. Oh, again, we tolerate that. Oh, that person, they might be having a bad day. You never know what they're going through. Okay, like I said, I'm going to keep bringing this up, by the way. This is going to be my example. So am I going to use that same excuse with the kids? Should I go and say that? Should I go and say, oh, sorry, guys, today I snapped on all your children, and they're all coming home crying and traumatized because I was in a bad mood and I was having a bad day and I snapped? Nah, that's not acceptable, is it? Exactly. So certain things are acceptable for some people and not acceptable for others. And that's what my problem is. It's like I said, some people's feelings matter, and other people's feelings don't. And being born is one of the worst ones, because then everybody feels entitled to you just because of being a blood relative. Oh, but but we're family. Oh, but with this. Oh, but with that. I didn't ask for that. And if I had the opportunity, it's the greatest reminder that there's really no such thing as consent in this world. Because if I had given the option, I wouldn't have joined. I would not have been here. And it's the one thing everybody wants to ask about. It's another reason I don't want to be around people, because I don't want to be asked. Can we ask anything other than, what did you do for the holidays? What do you do for work? How was this? How was that? How about we talk about something else? I hate being asked those questions, because then it gets weird, especially when you say, oh, I'd rather not speak about that much. Oh, is it one of those situations? And then it's like, you know what I'm saying? There's no way to get around it. I don't want to be asked. This is one of the main reasons, guys, I don't want to get into relationships, because I feel like as soon as it goes past a superficial level, all of a sudden, when you start asking me about it, there's going to be a lot of stuff I don't want to talk about. And if we do talk about it, it's just going to get dark, and it's not going to be nice. It's not going to be nice. It's not going to be nice. I'm not going to have anything nice to say. And also, I'm sick of hearing the same old blah, blah, blah that I hear every time. Of, oh, but this, and oh, but this, and oh, but this. It's like, oh, but you know what? Guess what? But all I'm taking away from all of this is I don't actually matter at the end of the day. That's why I'm like, I may as well just die. I may as well. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? Do you understand? Like, I don't know if anybody can relate to everything that I'm saying, but this is how I'm feeling. This is how I'm actually feeling. I can't even go to church and just be in church and just worship the Lord without there being some kind of drama. Oh, you're a young woman, this, be careful of this, da, da, da. I murmur a word to any women of God. Oh, I like somebody. Well, you better be careful that before you do this, and all of a sudden you're trying to, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to speak anyway. I don't want to speak. I try and do things that I like the way I want to do them. It's always everybody fussing over me. I want to be out in the cold. Oh my gosh, are you cold? Are you cold? Are you sure? I'm not cold. Oh, but you sure? But you sure? I've said I'm not cold. In fact, I'm out because I'm too hot. Literally touch, and I'll even volunteer for people to touch my body in these instances. Oh, you are hot, but you should really wear. I don't want to wear a jacket. I don't want to wear clothing. I'm only wearing all this stuff because of you people. The number of times I've been out in social situations, or like with family or friends or whatever, and I've worn a coat just so that everyone will leave me the hell alone. I don't want to. It's like when people say, oh, you should eat. It's not good to have not eaten all day. And I'm like, but I'm not hungry. But you need to eat because you need to feed yourself, but I'm not hungry. My body has extra stores of fat. I'm not skinny. I'm not hungry. I don't have an appetite. And then now I'm uncomfortable. And the number of times, again, I've ended up eating because somebody's fuss over me because, oh, you haven't eaten. Oh, no. Blah, 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 blah. So I'll eat some food, and then I'll be feeling like trash. I'll be feeling stuffed. I'll be feeling uncomfortable. I'll be feeling bloated. All just that you would shut up. And honestly, I've decided, I don't know how I'm going to start dealing with people. I feel like I should just start screaming in people's faces about stuff. Because this type of stuff, the only times this stuff doesn't happen is with you guys at the winning team and with random strangers that I meet. Like when I'm out, this is why I like to do things solo, because if it needs to be social, I'll end up just randomly meeting and bumping into a friendship group, and they'll be like, hey, we were supposed to do this activity, but it needs 8 people, and one of the people dropped out. By any chance, are you free? Do you want to join us? And I end up doing some random like activity with a bunch of people I've never met before for like one evening, and it'll be loads of fun, and we'll all hang out and whatever. And I'll like, there'll be like the one photo of me like 20 years later when they're all like looking back and they're like, who was that girl we saw that one night that we never saw again? Those are my favorite type of social interactions, by the way. Like, and those do happen to me all the time. That's why I'm like, it's quite funny, you know. But I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to talk about anything else. I don't want to talk about my problems. I don't want to hear people like, oh, you know, it's tough what you've been through, but you know, it's good to be strong. I don't want 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 to be a generational curse breaker. I'm not proud of any of it. I'm not proud because I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to be strong. I shouldn't have to be so strong. I shouldn't have to be so good at keeping so patient. I shouldn't have to be so good at dealing with demons. I shouldn't have to be. That's the truth. But I'm only good at it because I've had to be, because it's all being forced onto me. That's what I'm saying. Everything is forced onto you. It's just a force, by force. By force. So yeah, so that's why I realized, you know what, God, at the end of the day, let's make this simple. Ultimately, you're the one who could have pulled the plug if you wanted to, and you didn't. So what is the purpose? And that is my question. And I fear I won't be able to do absolutely anything else in life. Like, I won't be able to set myself another goal. I won't be interested in participating in anything until God can answer that question for me. Because unless, right now, I only want to hear three things, in my opinion, from the Lord: revolution, underground tunnels, promised land. That's all I want to hear about. Starting a revolution. And I don't just mean like, oh, we just, you know, do whatever. No, I mean like, I want to see like a majority of the population like decide to participate. Like, everybody decide we're not leaving our houses. We're not going to work. We're not doing nothing until this happens. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about big scale. I'm not talking about a little movement. I'm not talking about little like fences and like go and scream outside 10 Downing Street while no one's actually listening and they don't care and they're still just drinking their champagne and cheese like they were while they were giving us instructions to keep ourselves 6 feet apart while they were all living La Vida Loca in the gardens of Parliament having their little soirees, right? Like the freaking hypocrites they are. Nah, bro. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real life. I'm talking about tearing things down, tearing them down. And I mean that both literally and metaphorically. I mean, seeing all these people going away. And I don't just mean going away like getting a little slap on the wrist prison time. I'm talking, we need to get these people on the wall. I want to have Epstein and all these people on the wall, hands tied, legs tied, arms tied. And I'm talking castration. We need to castrate them on the wall like they did in the medieval times and back in the day, and remind people what we do to people that hurt children. That's what I'm saying. If we're not talking about that degree, and I want to do it by myself with my bare hands. Yeah, I want to, with my bare hands, I want to do it. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. And then I'm going to taunt them as well. I want to taunt them. Yeah. It's not nice when somebody's touching you where you don't want to be touched. It's not nice, is it? It's not nice being humiliated. Yeah. I will. And that is, you see, even now I feel more energy coming back to my body. That's the reason to wake up in the morning. That's the reason. Yeah. Castration. Rehabilitate all the kids, and then promised land. I don't want to have a mobile phone. I don't want to have to be in the world systems. I don't have to go to anyone. I want to know the person who owns every single thing that I've bought. I want to know the person who created the furniture in my house. I want to know the person who made the ingredients that I'm using. I want to know the person that did everything. I want to know them personally, and I want them to be people who I've vetted as people of character, who I want to put my money into. That's what I want to hear. Enough is enough. And that's what I want to hear. I want to hear revolution. I want to hear underground tunnels, busting into underground tunnels, and I want to hear promised land. And I don't want to hear anything else. Nothing else. I don't care anymore about the concert in the forest. I don't care anymore about literally anything. Underground children in the underground tunnels is the only topic I want us to be talking about, and getting rid of them. And in this order: revolution, underground tunnels, promised land. And then once we get to the promised land, my job here is done. I don't want to be around for the hey, because it took us all too long to do all of this. It took too much pain. Too many people had to suffer. Too much had to go down the drain. Like I'm saying, it's all well and good, all the pastors showing up now. Oh, actually, no, John Bevere is saying at least 50% of Christians probably aren't Christians. Duh. Some of us have been saying that. So why am I always having to wait around for people to catch up? And then I'm supposed to, listen, I'm not God. God can be God. I'm going to be me. I just want to be a human. All I'm saying in all of this is, I just want a reality where I get to be a human being and it doesn't somehow backfire on me. That's all I'm asking for. or I get to just enjoy life, and it's not, you know, at a cost of me somehow participating in the kingdom of darkness, because that's what I feel like it is right now. Like everything I'm doing, I'm participating in the kingdom of darkness. I'm teaching the kids in the school system, participating in the kingdom of darkness, like using YouTube, using this mobile device, using everything, doing everything that I'm doing and participating in the kingdom of darkness. So I don't want to buy anything. I don't want to buy any clothes. I don't want to buy any food. I don't want to eat food because I feel put off just from the simple idea of whoever's pockets that I'm lining. Like, I don't want to be around Christians because we're not powerful. They're full of pride, right? All this pride of like, oh yeah, we're better than the world. You need, mate. You're not doing nothing. You're not doing diddly. You're here, right? You're not praying in church for the bigger things of the kingdom. You're in here in church praying for your bills. My favorite man of God, one of my favorite men of God likes to say, all you pray for is bill and bills. That God would send you a bill, like a man, and that God would pay your bills. That's all you care. You pray for, bill and bills. Right? That's such a small layer of prayers. This is why I'm like, I don't even like hearing Christians talk about what they're praying about, because like low key, everyone's always praying about just like some easy light work things for God. Like that is light work. Listen, when God guides, God provides. I don't know how God does it, but I'll tell you that God with me, ironically speaking, and I've never spoken about this, but actually I'm not going to say this on the internet, never mind. But let's just say anyways, God provides whatever he needs to provide, however and whenever he needs to provide it. So this is why I'm like, when we have issues, you know, and even my issues now, and this is why when people try and, you know, think that my problems are targeted at individual people, it's like our experience as humans, at least for me, is so above the human, is so above humanness. Like this is all spiritual. Everything that's happening, it's all spiritual. We're here because of the ongoing decisions us as humans have made and the spiritual implications. Adam and Eve, knowledge of good and evil, right? They chose a life where they run themselves and they choose what they want to do. We gave up our freedom. You know, us with the Nephilim angels. We chose to procreate with them so we could use our own knowledge. We gave up our freedom. We are the ones who have tolerated all this stuff. We are the ones who vote these people into power. We are the reason, you know, the royal family is doing so much. People think that, oh, the royal family is so serious about dealing with things to do with this and this in their family. They're protecting their reputation because they're scared, because they know that the day they lose the British public, it's over for them, because the only reason they have the place that they are in is because of the perceived respect that they get, the fact that people worship them. Similar to things like the Pope. If we all decided we didn't care, if all it takes is for us all to... That is a really nice BMW. I have never seen that BMW in my life. And it's like, oh, and the color is nice. Oh my gosh, anyway. If we all decided we didn't care about what any of these people were doing, do you know that they immediately all lose their power? Whether it's the world governments, yeah, whether it's the church leaders, the Vatican, the Pope, and all that. If we all just decided we just didn't care, they've immediately lost all the power they have. And this is why I'm just like, you know what? No wonder the devil wants me to take my own life. This is why I'm like, I'm going to stay alive just to be petty at this point. Just to be petty. Because God forbid, or rather devil forbid, that anybody catches wind of what I'm saying. This is why I'm like, when people think it's all this complication, how we're going to like, you know, solve our issues and stuff. It's not complicated. All we have to do is stop. Just stop. If we all just stopped, if we all just didn't go and work as the cogs in the machines, you know, people complain about, oh, McDonald's, just everybody just don't go to work. Just don't go to work. Think, oh, well, how am I going to eat? How am I going to provide? Well, that's our fault, because we gave up our freedoms. We used to own our own stuff. God intended for us to have our own land. God intended for us to look after our own crops so that we could be independent. He gave us freedom. We are the ones who chose slavery. And again, if we worked as a community, all those things would be solved. Anyways, all the problems we have. So the question is, where is your faith? And that's where I'm like, the thing that bothers me is I just live in a faithless world. And it's not like faithless as in like people don't believe in God. Faithless as in like people don't have actual faith. Like you want to call yourself a Christian, you want to call yourself a this religion, that religion. That's why I like religion. What does it really mean? It just seems like it's just another vehicle for another way for people to feel good about themselves. Like how is that any different to the scientists who think that they're so smart just because they got a doctorate? How is that any different? You think you're good just because you do good deeds according to whatever book is part of your religion and whatever you perceive in how you think you're going to heaven. How is that any different to a scientist who thinks that they're intelligent just because they got a piece of paper that says Dr. So-and-so. But again, God knows what organization, what gives them the right to give the certification, like all this certified, this person certified, this certified. Who the freak is certifying, and why do we care? Like, who are you for me to care that you are certifying it? So I guess you guys can see my problem anyway, that like, ultimately, I really don't feel like doing this Bible thing right now. I can't even lie, but maybe I need to just try at least one, or maybe I'll do it later. But I said that yesterday and the day before, and then I didn't do it. But I did do 3 chapters, and maybe that's why I ended up doing 3 chapters in one day, because the Lord foreknew, because I'm just not in the mood, like. And I try to really record, especially Bible videos. I really want to record them when I'm really in that headspace and in the right spirit, because it's sensitive. And it's a bold choice for me to come out there and be reading the Bible. Because obviously, again, in the world I live in, everybody takes things crazily. And that's actually maybe one of the final things that really stresses me out. And again, about people forcing things onto you. I really hate how people will hear that I'm a Christian, I believe in God, right? The fact that no one ever actually asks what that means to me and just assumes based on their version of events, knowing that there are so many options out there, is another thing that then annoys me, because then people then immediately treat you like they think they know what you believe. And it's like, you haven't asked me. And I told you, it's the same thing I've hated in relationships throughout my life, where people will talk to me or treat me in a certain way, and I can always tell, because they treat me as if like they know me, but then they're treating me like a version of me that I don't know of. And so then when I see how they're treating me, right, or how they talk to me, I'm like, where is this coming from? And then I realize it's because they were told a version of me that didn't come directly from me, and rather than doing their due diligence and actually asking or getting to know me for themselves, they just run with the narrative they've already heard. And that's what I feel like is why it annoys me sometimes about calling myself a Christian. Is like, people automatically treat me like, and treat all of us like, oh, you're part of this group. And people do it all the time to me, like, oh, because you're a Christian, because you this. And I'm like, you haven't, it just actually says a lot about you, and it says a lot about this world, that you think you know everything about somebody you haven't even bothered to ask. And that's what tells me this world is dumb and dense, and I don't want to be here, because I'm like, is this outside of it, not even to do with the Christianity part itself, but the simple fact of you thinking you know everything about something you've barely done any research in. And that's actually what the world is like. That's why I think God gave me the gift of being a researcher at heart, and like why I love to do research, because I'm like, and why I say to you guys, like, well, who did the official accreditation? Scientific research, everything's scientific research. And then it'll be like, they tested 100,000 people. The other day I saw 150,000 people were tested. I'm like, you think that's good enough as a sample size for like research that we're seeing as like an observable truth to represent the greater public? How many billion people are in the world and around the world? And they did a study on 100,000. And this is why, again, when people trust in science, I'm like, what are you trusting in? What are you even trusting in? Scientific research shows, the scientists show, like, it's all dumb. It's all dumb and dense. Anyways, guys, I gotta go. That's what it was. It's what it is. I actually feel better for getting it all off my chest, and I feel like I got everything out I needed to say about why I really don't want to be here on Earth out in one simple video. I didn't even have to get into the being sexualized aspect, but I've been talking about that a lot, so I felt like I'll give that one a rest. Anyways, so who knows if I'm going to record. I don't feel like it, I'll be honest. I feel like it's going to be, I don't have work, well, I don't really have work, I don't have work for the rest of the day. I feel like I should just kind of just sit in my thoughts, but not in a negative way, more in like okay, what is the actual solution? So maybe I will be back, we'll see. But anyways, guys, let me know if anybody has any ideas, or any advice, only if you're a winning team member, like people who have actually been here. Because if you haven't, guaranteed you're missing a whole big chunk of context for a lot of the things that I've said, because people have been here to see the journey and see what's happened along the way. Thank you guys again for always being here. Let me know if whatever your woes are. Tell me if whatever your woes are, because at least if I can pray for us all then. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I talk to you guys, the one thing that makes me actually genuinely feel better about everything is when you guys are telling me about like stuff you're going through. I think, you know what, this makes, because I want to pray for you, now I want to pray for everyone, and now I end up praying for myself as well. and then just end up praying for the whole team. So it's really good when you guys do tell me, like personally or otherwise. Anyways, guys, if life's a game, it's pay to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.